Amade Shema Munina ha UTV Esuni Omamu Nsem ya mahodo so dia wasemo platform so eno ene na ewie mede eso mo kase bo kwan so yentie enyanim nsem no ebi ebibremu nhwamudie bi ekoso ya edi mpagya ene nkankro ebebre ebibremu aman ama yeso yegina ye naso brand sa so ena wochemu a 31st African Summit ekoso ya Bank of Ghana empanyimfo de afutuo ato wonum a efa enkofo wonwuma mu se wonum a eni mainstream banking wonfo ho anyim no yenhwe kwan ebefa so ne de safo ni nyina ewremu wonsam foforo mu so guta de ato abanyanim se pa se obesesa Ghana cedi pore sika bebrebe na so de kwa koduru ha yesi dollar na san akosoro ma wonum sika sem enyina so ebo won kanti aban entu eho anamo entemma wo esmo foforo bi ka wenum ho na awie mede esomo kase bo kwan so mi amesomo na awie mede de amma saponkumankuma jesi cute cat palo and ebusia me kai mu se oyemiti e de ma me sa so na specialized mineral water and special drinks eboye chidom me ka se mi minimum fam a eno a na me di edi dwumanti ya no opebia nonom na aboa ye tiesi ensem ni mu Africa continent eyade a empanyifo chemu se ebibremu eba ni mpuntunwuma tren akwan ka kwan ene niema ahodo anka bema ebibiman ye ho asisi ye ho so ne akase agina brane no ewo fom enti sese wonum ahia etoato adwen ko obefa so na ya pagya ye ho agina yie na mpuntunwuma etete sa no etumi adoso.
Strengthening the capacity and resources of our DFIs will enable them to mobilize capital more effectively and to channel investment towards priority sectors, including energy sector, transportation, and telecommunications. A key feature of Africa's trade, which has had some adverse implications for its impact on economic growth and development, is its high external orientation and relatively low level of intra-regional trade. Intra-African trade stands at around 13% compared to approximately 60%, 40%, and 30% of intra-regional trade that has been achieved by Europe, North America, and Asia, respectively.
Government must be able to come and construct railway lines and leave it to the private sector to operate. Most often, the agenda for most of the African countries, and I have listened to a number of groups here saying that the PPP is the way to go in addressing this infrastructure. Yes, it may, but not in railway. Because as an investor, my priority is to look at shortest payback period, huge return on my investment. The difficulty we have in Africa is anytime the PPP jumps in to undertake a railway project, the viability gaps become so huge, and governments upon governments are not ready to close that viability gap. I'm yet to see in any African country where a private sector has gone deeply into this railway and is making a return on it. What we can do is government to prioritize the railway. Multilateral agencies, our donor partners, bilateral agencies have been supporting. But it is a fact that the traditional mechanism of financing is not sustainable. If that is not sustainable, then we should begin to look at other alternatives, just as my colleague, the Minister for Finance, has addressed.
A number of things that we must do. Investment will be key. We require significant funding to upgrade our infrastructure, and the global partners can provide the necessary capital to enable us to achieve this. But investment isn't just about money. It's also about expertise, technology, and knowledge sharing. By partnering with global leaders on infrastructure, we can tap into their experience, their know-how, ensuring that our projects are designed and implemented with the latest innovations and best practices.
Ebibre mu nyina ensentwofo nkabomu nkuo eka ho abomu adidwuma bi ewo enkran ha ne wukwadai na efiti ase nam so ama DJ president ne asoye a ehwe nkrato ensam so no de wahoboaboa ne sede niam sitie ato UTV ne ensentwofo nkaye baaye enim.
We are hosting the biggest media convention on the continent for journalists, and the focus is on innovation, sustainability, and environmental protection. This media convention brings together policymakers we have already in the country, policymakers including ministers representing various governments across the continent. We also have representatives from the steering committee of African Media Convention, as mentioned. We have representatives from the AU, UNESCO, and our partner for this convention, the International Fund for Public Interest Media. At the local level, government of Ghana, together with the Ghana Journalists Association and all its partners, GIBA, Prempark, and other sister organizations, are seeing to it that we have a successful conference.
I wish to state that all logistics, facilities, and support services, including event venues, accommodations, transport, personnel, and resources required to effectively hold the convention have been duly secured. We have also met our pre-publicity requirement and marketing campaigns for the event, and currently working with relevant stakeholders to continue with our marketing and publicity campaigns during and after the convention. Ladies and gentlemen, with regards to attendance, I wish to state that we have recorded over 1,000 registrations from media experts and scholars, journalists, journalist unions and associations, as well as editors from the public and private sectors across the continent. And we are expecting over 600 foreign participants to take part in the 3-day convention.
Federation of African Journalists as being the voice of journalists of the continent, GJA is a proud member of the Federation of African Journalists, but more so, Ghana is an example for democracy and good governance across the continent. This is not something that we say because we are visiting in Ghana, and you can imagine being a representative of journalist unionists and associations who always take on governments, on democracy, on press freedom, on good governance issues, but also when there are good things we say it, and that is the reality. I believe we are all partners of progress. We complement each other. When things are bad, we have to say it. When things are good, we have to say it.
When you look at how the media has been operating on the continent, some of the challenges that we face is because we do not consider the role of duty bearers. Many a times we think inwardly, we look at journalists and our own challenges, and we don't consider that we need the stakeholders like security organs in the room in this conversation. We never think that we need the judges to converse with us and to discuss the challenges facing the media in Africa. We don't even think of the role of the parliamentarians, prosecutors, the role of lawyers. Tomorrow or the next day, I think tomorrow, we have one of the best forums where we have brought together from the continent to come and discuss and to look into ways of providing an enabling environment for the media on the continent. We also don't think of the role of the ordinary citizens.
After Secretariat, ya one more edumedie ne se wo hwehwe abo anwuma amwagina wona so no wasanti asepam ya ebebo ama enyu amanya hodo ya wo se akuewe mu na wo ye enwuma no wo betumi abo wadwatan odua ho dewro e wo saa aman ne so na abo amu onwuma akonkan.
APN Ejinama After Policy Network Group organizations and 9 in the chassis. Ebe sign MOU. Na say MOU acheyi se ne otie excellence say ya persistent ache. Me kaidia akobese mfie miensa. Na dinti ache ne say ye na ye first international NGO I be ano efa after ho nkyerɛkyerɛ ɛwɔ Africa na every now and then near basse any mudi kita ye bom ye dwuma it say nji ye be bom na ya hwe hawa ye be church after ya hwe hawa nkofo benya benefit fi after na fi investment wise ne be programs are boom said no ote say SG kano investment a bit map per country be okay said ba ku ya na nke ekoye se Chelsea aban no ye ready to ye be bom na ya investors ye ba ku Ghana sa inti ye pese ni mu yedwuma ye tu anamo nye no nko a omso mu bisade kakra wo hwe after ha say ya omu hia nkofo be say 200 and something to work upside now no me be say 30% staff inti ebom so mutuma ka say okay mdo tu edme say mu betumi apɛ nkofo betumi etua sa professional seka dey ban say EPA be dia be maka say okay dey nkofo 5 e ba bi edwuma na enya company bi opɛ so otua sa salaries no ene nso ka ho na wote ya na yeka say omuso mu hia di say accommodation it never be brain e bomo e pese ne omo eden etu ana mawo ti say dwedi e be signing on the MOU agreement I pese ne omo tu ana mo.
I'm very happy that we're able to sign this MOU today. It's long in the making. We've been discussing this for some time. The partnership that we have that started immediately after the establishment of the AFCFTA Secretariat here in 2020 is an important partnership. I think the first time we met, I said to you that this agreement will succeed only when domestic stakeholders in country have a full participation in the formulation of strategy for implementation of the AFCFTA. And indeed, across the continent, we have developed strong networks and partnerships for AFCFTA implementation.
Ebibre mu nhyiamudie bi ekoso ye first kasam ho nam so ama second deputy governor the Bank of Ghana Madam Elsie Adade Awazi de nsama hodo bi atwedwa kwan asese wo fa so na wosom ye wonu ade won sika ekoma banks no ato ho no wosom won yie amu won so enyo papa se da obetu anamo de aba won chen ho.
Regulation has a similar role to play as we license and authorize new entrants and new products. It is important that we hold them accountable to doing the right thing and to promoting inclusion on a sustainable basis. Two other points I'm going to make. Infrastructure, you heard a lot of it, some of which were mentioned by the Honorable and His Excellency, the Vice President. But the key question is who is going to make these investments? Investments in digital IDs and interoperable payments and settlement systems, in financial literacy programs, and so on and so forth, and credit reporting, credit scoring programs. There is a place for public goods, for providing some of this as public goods that help to promote access and to bring down the cost of access. How we measure impact is going to be very important. And we often are measuring impact in terms of number of accounts open, and so on and so forth. You will find that increasingly the World Bank Global Findex report is going beyond number of accounts and looking at real usage and basically resilience in terms of how economic actors are able to manage their risks across board. When that market woman has a store that catches fire, is it insured, and can she get back on her feet soon? And really, we need to find ways of investing in the coordinated databases. I think Olayinka made this point brilliantly. Databases that speak to each other, that allow us all to understand from a policy, regulatory, and investment standpoint what is going on and how we can all work together. But also, it's important we measure impact as we bring in the underserved and the unserved. What is the impact making? Are they borrowing to gamble? Are they borrowing and not paying back and therefore denying themselves access going forward? What are the uses and what else needs to happen in the entire economic ecosystem to free up opportunities so that as they get included in the financial space, they are able to unleash their greatest potential?
Yako ahomane so na yani guta mpanyufo akodi enkomo sanse eba na dwadie mu dia wonomo a na edi ahemfie ekoba na so womo ekari Ghana sikai na ba bikura wofo onema firi no wonomo asesa sika no se de akwakodro no mo de akwakoto sa aneme enyantie se dollar no kwa na ekoso ha wadwadie nti wonomo kura akasa eden bi ato aban enim. Mira Joseph Obeng ewo ahomane so ene ne ebedi enkomo opanyi wadaroma otemenka memo hawo
mejo so mewa
na wadaroma apomu te sei
yesu adome
ebedi so ye
ebedi do ebedi no kreni sabe wo de ka ewo dole mu a na se so do nse guti se wo de ka na se eye dollar kana odia ene mponse wo engofo be free ho niema na wo mo ntimi ntua be sisame ya wo mo betua ne ya na wo je train so ase because what's the Sunday akoto dollar na wunya dollar krona the same value just a year what opo enti ama adwadie na ye din pa ate say on say dollar no eno na say ye ko amanso ekoto niema no na ye di benchmark ye price no enti ye tade no dollar mu ni abefa shape na ye de niema egum no no so ye dollar na no kra na nsen no shape no bo no asa ye de ente say the covid time no call ye no
empanyufo ma ne ba form kakra na
ba form pa say na covid no twa ye na ba form but they say Asian countries no you name the reasons but shipping freight charges no asa akosura to say yes you see akwa 40 feet no and number 7,000 after nanke 2,005 yes
a quadruple
so we say we business kakra nti what you say enti se ekopasa na yeba fie na you duty no tua no so susupuma eda ho no dollar na eno so ma price no ekosura na se enukuri ni afi na cost of doing business no na akosura ye na ebasa emwa ye tedie no kra won se de ko bi be kan ni se obo no akosura enwa ni so bo de ma the wobeto no but the wobeto no so one limit edie na ye die no ye ne no quantum crew ye ne customers no na ahwibum it is say we no ba na cost of doing business no cost na dia ye free inflation no e cost ra ubon say the purchasing power na ho de na wotimi de to ne mama wa no na akofom nti sika kro na nke bia nko betimi de ato eniema be edu amano ene no bi obebre pansa na sika krona wodi ato enan anamien sample nti ebasa no a etwadie ne fapempa ne wano a ye friend turnover eno na ye fapem no pa agina nti se ebasa ne enya sa na fe ye etwadie na ye din na fe ye pia yakopo ne bank yentimi ntua ye free bibi surprise credit ya enkofo a ewa manane a ada wo mada wo mo credit no ono so ntimi ntua nti na se akoye asema ha adwen pa no ntina ye ti aban se ye nim say depreciation of any currency there ewom bi a beti na kru bi e de akọ any e bade bia nemum say the rate econo free to say the see aye bia na say you will any cost to be alarmed say you be tin aban ni aka say yem pekwa bi ni instabilize currency no enuntina e trace ye titim sense mfuwe say aye krado say you betimi ni aban trase ye stakeholders ni na ekwanya you betimi afaso bia ma yetimi aso sadia no na e pasa enye gedi nkwa na efati ye ni omini aba of the inflation basket no ebi amode enuane a ye ne produce no Ghana ha no ye digum and ye inflation no and so there's no difference now between the domestic inflation and imported inflation no et say sisi an say tomatoes in India say bayile in India we decide any person say we say yamfa so no plant no ye we decide na gusu ni ahye no na ye krasa na mani na so ye de boy ye tia ye display any hongika oni na no ye kra any ye ba say ne bo no ekosra na akwa affect no by na ye dua wa ha sei no itina say de bia na epushi inflation no eni ma bo no so sa akosra na ayi no so ama yes eno no indicators a eye fapema edwadi agina so eye interest rate any inflation na ni na so epushi inflation no kosra
we de min twawa no obeka se said ye name atie ye ntimi nso muntimi nso nkase mu gya adwadie ye den ambokoso ayemoduma ntidie na mohwehwe se animani mu ya mpanyifo beye na timamufo nyina mo adwadie ho nsam ye ya ye beto afiri mu hoso so obi a ho be ha no ne nkoba nze ne se okotonto osikura kan me enuma wa 5 cedis
yo ntimi no kasa no nze medika ka se se ye koto ade no wo amanane a ye de dollar no ono aban ni ho to me eye free charges aban ni ho to me na dia bago ho to me sisi a obeka se animani mu metimi aye ene se susudua na wode charge duty no wode me atua duty na ye dollar no ono no obetimi amana gina bia bi amayen na eno so entumrika te se de dollar to me ka pasa na se ye dwin o ma no ho ye dwin se tibemufo no ebre na nukrani free 2022 emse da ye nya home ya 2023 ndi ya ba 2024 ni 2022 latter part of 2022 experience no asa babiowa na se emwa ye nyina eninti ekwaya abanzo betimi afa so semre ya make say na watimi ama wa ma ye dollar rate wo form ye di betia duty na e pasa duty tia no beba form ama at duty payment no so ono de animani ya aban eni bia ocean bia so say yedi eba etimamufo no a obetimi ayesa ade no na say ye so ade na no de kwanya aban betimi aye ne say samre no speculation na ye rife enough ama amanfo to ye panic buying of the dollar and all ka ho say panic buying no ba ubo say ama yina kosro it is here no amanfo store dollar no as a store of value. It is more a save dollar no as a store of value. That will be no ekoto no dia selling price. No at the aban betimi aye say see animani ya ne say what they GDA bi ana or they GDA ebesa be wu asese no ama ebia wakati dia sika bia papa mede eba besum ono de pasa na wo mu dimrika no makoyi afrem panase no mo de aba etu aban ese ni manimi ya utimi create that confidence no kwan bia na yebetumi nya that confidence aba masa confidence no mra na amanfo utimi nyi skama ye dia sie no emra na fei IMF deal no third tranche third tranche no yeni hu komo no entempa ya na ke yensaka the third tranche na eno so be aboa ama stability no e de aba na skai ever start ya kosuru na meria so be kai a dollar no ko do 12.8 pepe na me ba ban koko na the say press release e de ba say Nigeria for war crisis, serious crisis. At that time, woman dollar no kura no munye bi kura to kura ko it be team Bank of Ghana be team aban say yan say ya woman crisis no mo no hunsun so no ba be wie because the pasa woman beto be toni na free ha e dia ko and then ni gina it was a free 12.8 no and a free call 13.2 13.5 aba we no it is some Yemeni na so much cross border trading of money no trade of money no as it me because all the banks na West Africa and winning be breeding or no so one network can say Nigerian banks na gua no so this capital Nigeria bank no mu a wo na bank ni bi o Benin bank ni bi o Togo na bi o Ghana baby bi wo bia no wutimi ba be use ka that no man network no eti economic akrakasa no no musika no wo mutimi di bi wura mu aha ebe $1 kwa that's what they we ketekete ampa enti esi shata ni mani na Bank of Ghana rules regulations or the sub banks in the mono. Ama obia discover to us ka be ya de wa ha they say ya purposeful they say jumano e be juma bi wa ha then you be obi discover to no be no hatra how this guy ya said this guy kwa brucha wo bu say dear na wo this guy no eba be ye ne de ye ni bibisa it will be discover to ma oba no be no ko black market no ko boom no de ko inti ya se say mani na ne kwa ye
doc ye beda as papa wadaje awie Ebusia Dr. Joseph Obeng ya wo ye guta president ne no atwetwe enkomode afa ohawa dollar inti wono mo adwadie esi ekomu na ba soso a de ahokyeba ye nyina ye so ahafomantemu NPP empanyimfo ye wo ho akasa se Owura Collins Dauda eni Yera Eric Opoku empanyimfo abato afia ye wo mu no wo mo ahye atutrasamase wo mpatamu ho amantam ne mu emunwokra nti wosre candidate ebeto aba afi se wo mo entom fenti asa mpanyimfo ene won candidates
Edinchuo na ekoso no enantokwa esi wokuku mu namso ama Owura Kwabena Owusu Sechere ahafomantemu no MPP dwumtseni akasade atudwa se won na momunsa soma entokwa ne baye no eye esutifi anafo mrahye onimonyafo Collins Dauda ene esunafo anafo mrahye onimonyafo Eric Opoku wase wamo enehyasie eye dedum amasa niema no ekoso enyekora wase beye infinhia nwotwini ana na adodan kwakufu adobedi ade no asumdwe akoso ahafunti wonti asie se enei enipa bi pesesa asumdwe no ebo aze
yenua no hafofo aboa wo denti amekasa hafofo aboa mu sabe omo moto abama omo ko parliament omo ya hafofo so yandisi ni kura wa ya hafuni ana ameboa eti yasedani honorable Eric Opoku what the MP for 20 years Eric Collins Dauda what the 28 years tisabe mo anya bibi amawase eja abono kro no wo de fa ne samo anya hwimpo a asomdwe de nka mo yentran e baabie ne ko base sabe ya ye wadoma boa wo de wakoduru mpempenso sei na ya sedani a menua efe nda me pa chawo 275 parliamentary members e Ghana no ya kan sabe atutura semo a wo betu yi mpanyifo mi no fi me gina hai papa ya wo gina hai papa we regional nadmo coordinator we na akyerensua ye twa nansa 2016 election day before election ogina we nansa dade ne him I can mention a nipa mako more than 30-40 ebi trima pai ye twa binsa ebi trimati monko amomi enu mo ye de na moji wo politics mesre me fa kwanya nsi na masre ahafofo ma kuma se enkran takura de ba bibia obi awo December 7 this is the time fa kokro moti beto abati awo mo ne yanyi asomdwe ne ya bre
Ebria esemu ye de onumunyamfo Collins Dauda ni Yera Eric Opoku a yabo omudin wo mu so efemu de e wa asemi ho ebeto eja na yato so akonsem foforo mu ababeto eja se bono mantam ne mu yade a HIV yade no e ma ne mu so wo ho papa ya wa hwiri kwam edikan enti e wo se wonum ehwe won ho ye e wo sa mantam ne
HIV yade no enempenifo ebu enkonta ato ano ewo bono mantem nim nenam so ama Dr. Cardinal Newton ede atudwa se wo General Bosman kopim December no ewo mfiempim bienu ni aduonu mienu 2022 mu no enipa enya AC yade no foforo ni bi no eye ahanwotwe aduanan enan 844 na yade bi ha adwene papa ehu ehia se ye bo hu dawro magana fo ye da ye hu se yade no edaso ho mo enunti no ye kwa kodi empamu agorebe ahweye empo ade a ebetwa ye amayenye yade ni bi no emaye mfa ye ho enka
enya ho keka se bono region the prevalence ni begina 2.27 ye way above national 1.7 enya ho keka enti nene wo se ye dwumadin ni etumi de bafo na yetumi make sure say you betumi akofo because until recently nanke ye ni lead and the eastern region for abeje free yensem but no kra so kire say ye ni bring na ye kofom because we ye ni eastern region kra difference here in the kakre ebi no more 1.5 1 point something I don't know ye dey ntumi nko and it is ye nyina ye kan ye ntoma bom say ye ka kire student we bia advocate say ye early diagnosis and try yɛnhwɛ sɛ yɛbɛtumi anya wo a ɔmo wo bi na ɛde ɔmo ato treatment so na ɔmo da treatment so yɛahwɛ sɛ ɔmo virus na ɛbɛkɔ fam.
Owura Apia Wahene David, SRC President, Awosunyane Nursing and Midwifery College, and so at the Futu MIC.
HIV, a father to your 18 SRC week, so no, a man who challenges be go through. And about creating me who AIDS Commission collaboration, Nanka, it's me about the about HIV and AIDS. But yet, me who say AIDS Commission, limited with resources, especially when it comes to finance. Omane ETIAS say they are under the office of the president. Now, according to statistics, no, by 1 to 2 years in year, no, omuntiminya any funds from the office of the presidency, and fund support, omujumedia de, omudi. After this stakeholders engagement, yeah, sure, a man penny for any buying penny for say. Mwabi some of the support AIDS Commission. No mutimi bode rule, no mutimi more education biano. Among fan and fandom among.
UTV ejumedie baako a yedi wo fidua mu United Showbiz na ababa woti etie se host chinchim fruma no de mayen Gloria Akpene Nyako aka ya omanfo nyina enim no se Miss G. Mother's Day a day where na dwen se obekọ Accra Rehabilitation Center na woni ema e wo hono mo akoka bom na wadi eda no wakoso wankọ nsapan na yentie ohawa wakohu ene de ode to Ghana for eni.
Ewiase nyina da woturi si wonom ede hye enanom ho fa eno no ye World Mother's Day celebration no ekoso ema na enye fadi agro kra ene wo hwedwumadi awodo no a omanfo edigu akwan so ede hye wo maame mu nyam so omo akonkonwa na enye bi kra enie enam so ma UTV United Showbiz host Gloria Akpene Nyako akwa dodo night friend Miss G wono so adoye ema ne so enanom a wonom ewo Accra Rehabilitation Center nyina eso na we no product a free gino GB Foods for enchen en wode ema enanom de sedie eba wonom anim wose ewom so wo da honom de na nso nso yento wo mpa ahwe emfa ma wo mo yeda so a adwene wonom ho enti na etwa fata se okoye adoye we ede ema Accra Rehabilitation Center no nso nso enya saa niama we nyina ede aboa ma enanom nso eda we no etimi ayekra behwe ede ama.
This week, me baby me birthday, me throw letter come GB Foods for delay kakra and for some I think about a week now no supply me. No man come person me did me birthday. Na me so me di birthday da my donation for 3 orphanages here San Hiti streets. Then na me di no may be and na me say ma mention your may no na me fa ba ho. Embre mothers living with disability. I am Mother's Day. So Mimi Mami no onye disabled, but I know the struggle she went through before or pass it on. Na insure beton insure bo fruit or beton bo fruit. Na me imagine mothers here. Ebi oni na ye ni ya ni sa ye ni ya. Obeye den na wahwe ni ma. Aku school ama mo bi edi. Na me say no. This is the right place to be. Mimbro Mweduani from GB Foods. GB Foods 4-year producers of Gino products. Inti tomato puree, any man spaghetti, curry mix, nina, the Adriani die. Omo bebre. And omo tagline so Gino truly cares. Inti mamimbe shre sa omo dono. You know, from the product they've given, I mean, from mothers with disabilities, na afedo musumu say we truly care about them. The tale of the message, nina, and say, children sa obi wo work bi, unim baby or the beko. Mature 3 orphanages, mature on Wall Street, but some betro Accra Rehabilitation Center. Me patro hadi omu hia mo apa. Enwa hwe ye ne enanum bia wonsa eka achedie efri Miss G ho no, eso twetwe nkomo.
E ma me ni agi papa esa no pa we mi sori me re ho kakra. Me bisa me ho se ho na be wishi mi bi. Sinyame adom. Odi fa obi su na oba be wishi nyina ye wani gie mu. Enti me da mo asinyame hram. Oma me ni agi papa me dada mo. The way po mama gade me nanti di corner ye kwa ye bon komo no e ma me ni agi papa mama kuma tom yem.
Baby onya adwin ne free, baby onya sika ne free. Nyame nhye ne mama ye. Man nhye ne mama no. Na on shranu na omunya nshirani nkoni su the whole of her family. Nshirani mba omusu. Yeda na sipa.
Nti nyame nhye ne mo. Yeda na sipa say or the small and buy yensu aye ni bi krapo yensaka yeda na se say ne bibi aye fine amaye nyame nhira no pa na me wo ma no ene UTV ɛno so nhyira nyina nkɔ mam yɛda mo ase sɛ mo adwen yɛn BWD4 yɛn sɛbi no ɛna yɛn sa bɛkɔ ya no mu di small amaye yɛda wase.
Penny Kwanchefo oda Ghana Link Network Service Limited ano ne dwumakuo ahodo enkaya owura nek danso ejei abiam eda no empanifo ahwe ne modern mo wa bibremu ha sede odi ne dwuma ede boa ne titu oman Ghana ne bibiman ma ne fa ne ntoma pefra no wonomo aye Ghana West African Business Excellence Awards abonabaso ewa dwumaden a wo ye ewo oman Ghana ene ebibremu.
We know fine I think also Ghana into my for the then it me yes to my more next time maybe to my money I am for facilitation here the company Ghana Link in a entrepreneur and they be no problem the company we more the West African more we the Nigerian for no here in efficiency yes I for you are holding say or mobile BM to say we buy a getting post the manufacturing say almost up to computer computer program now more money than everything so just we I give it powder water so just the computer could go be second time so just the man so we say omunye serious na amon school come ye na omunye akpade na meka na omuntibi emeye mroye so just expectation kwa no mudi achi do ba mroye so say o man tibi ma mroye so na Ghana ye ka ba bia o say ka shankra na nkran say ba bia o say no na me time no me better than me it is we careful they can come bigger than then yes so yeah they need to build Ghana.
Yeboshi ni akopiemo ewo manhia Senior High Technical School na adesuafo ne mpanyufo eda school da no afedie wono mani age sanse wo se abefo ntenten fidie ya ene uko schools ahodo a nkwada nyina wo bi na wodidi dwuma no oni bi sese de nyame akomwa ama temamensini assembly no ayebi amawo
Abefo abrosan a akadegum ena yesi se ICT any library ayadane de ama adesuafo mo mahiase omo entine mu ensuade na mayor a wotema a onokro yanso ena MPP amayuko no woye omo parliamentary candidate e wotema east ena esiye na ebra wodane de ama adesuafo no wode tudwa echire mu say information technology no ne di animu ma digital no ewie mu di pa ena digital so e de MPP aban akomaso enunti abambe na afamu die biada ama adesuafo enyamu chefa
ene eda ya ba my Senior High Technical School your project bi ye emomo we building ye story building ICT building but asia no library ICT infrastructure and ye dey ba school I Temanuta more small room bi down honoma small room numbers no doso na wo hwe the way na room no tia na enye very conducive so all the business things about computing and when I push yes a new building momo we emotion more space we have a lot of computers chamber kono we so say a lot of facility other place ni na meje dey say make us say omo curriculum na so sagakra computing are elective now and it say opa umpo be computing until we de beboa students ni yepa na obi anya access to computers e wa ha se na be ya nya so mo sua theory nkra but practical no so ka ho bi we na wa complete computer literate na fa nti media ne say omo use we ni ye na mo sua mo ba ha no ma mo bia enko internet so say ko ye Facebook and WhatsApp na social media omo focus na mo sua computer ni ye se na be mo wie school na mo ko market no so a omo nim da na mana ye easy amomo amagidi say we be buan kwala no bebre ama omo computing no skills no akosropa
say ICT learning no a integral part of the school system since the 21st century in kwala no maba no without ICT omni baby jina the time you did to the Lord Mayor nim say here center no so also the background ICT into who say very necessary so on subebo na 21st century in Kwala no our mobile so on my bobo SCA jebebo honestly say ICT we taking it serious what creative job am in advance. We
will say a very big thank you for this donation, and this donation is really going to help us in our teaching and learning process. It's going to make teaching and learning easier and faster and help us also in our researching.
Ene se wuko dwom na wukoto se ye nyadoa se ye ntosi se ye jeni na se wo tobia sidie duo ye 20 cities ayetimi kan be se numpe ana nan na ye de agu nsem na chese niema bo ayeden pa UTV ye ne adwadifo ma ewo mokola akodi nkomo abiza se anyem bia mo hyeda bo apaye nipa bonsam enti na mato niema mu ama niema bo ayeden ana se de pa na ekoso ewo dwan mu ye ntie de wonom ese
mekonu ebia wo time no ba akakakra mekonu bebusa na muamu kasa se na de na meko abuse wan wo se nso oto first na nso nu nto enu se ti se nto mekonu emba ti se ntos ni sisi beba sesi a bosun wewu a wo be hu se ntos nu abusa na ye tumi nto nti saa na eye enye se ye na ya mia ntos ana ye na ya mia meko na ontumi ba na obia wo time ya odiba
moko ni bua edi but eye season enfi obia eye season bi wo ho a ebehu na ebebu season bi wo ho ebehu na no bo no akoso na eche se ebi ni ho nti sabri meko ni ho nti na meko ne bo no ayeden nti eye kakra munyabote ebaba na ayefofofo na obi atimi atobi
yenkuafo ne ene omu ye adwuma no omsisi afet ne bo ayeden spray ne so ne bo ayeden first ya mama teso no mekonu ebi ebeba no 1 million ete Ghana 250 yetimi to aton 10 cedi bottle bekufa do penso se na niama bo ayeden no eno nti na ama mekonu kwa yenya bimpo ekuafo ne nya sika na omde ato fet ne na omde aye efuo no nti mekonu yenya bi nti se wunya ba ko a okuenu su tie kurase ni ba ko school ewom ebia no de bo akoma nti so obema ne bo ayeden nti bo na omde ma ye no eno nso ne yeso ye ba
to me be to wo komo akodwa ne nchen wa ha se na mekoton first last year ye to meko ahin 600 ba fi we ye to meko no 2600 meko ne boy din to the extent say o ton a untimi nto omo tutu tilapia de chili pepper ne eja ito o be fa meko ne kwa meko boto ba kwa wo se otimi di ebia 1 day ton no ebe di be say 3 days ansa na meko boto ba ko ebe sa nti eba ne sa na ma usika ne so aye basa
ekuafo no 90% no complete omo mani say tama omampenyi dada mama teso no na fet ni ye de mom flee na aban we breso no fet ni ye ton mom empon no mu nyeska no mo de ato inti mostly no normally beble to me say obi obebresa obedo be wie bedu tama na no mana ba obon se na aye apo ne ashe coat aye brown sa no so de ba ha ye nto
fida mi start tonya dra mi ton sa 24 ni bida se be to kula ni bo aye dia 5 million 4 million 45 ya to mi ton 1.5 na ti say 4 years ni nya dra ba 24 million ya patch on ya ti so na ya ton 20 million any 22 million mi hu bida
and ben for best no madaro ma yaton krabati ya wa ba bongo di farade agodi mu nsem beto aso